What's up, people? Back with another reaction, back with another anime soundtrack reaction, and we're going back to the soundtrack for Akuma no Riddle, or Riddle Story of Devil, composed by Fujisawa Yoshiaki. Big shout out again to Michaela, who enjoyed the show and who also commented as we went through the show on Patreon. And indeed, if you are not aware, or if you're interested in anime and would like to go on a cool journey, I would encourage you to go check out my Patreon, where the full series is available. And I say full series, there's like 12 regular episodes, and then there's a 13th episode, which is sort of like an OVA, which is to say like a bonus episode, and that one is, you know, sort of, it's after the main story of the show is over, and it's very comedy based. But in any case, they're all over on my Patreon, the full watch along, so you can check that out. But yes, we're going to continue to go through the soundtrack, and I think there's like 22 or something like that tunes in the soundtrack, and I think this will be the 6th reaction, so roughly we've gone through about a quarter of the tracks. And indeed, I had a bit of a difficulty trying to figure out which tune I wanted to react to, but the one that I chose was The One to Be Protected, and Michaela will know this relates to the main two characters seen here, which is Azuma Tokaku and Ichinose Haru. And yes, the premise of the show, as I probably explained in previous reactions to the soundtrack, is that it's a young school for assassins, and the mission they get is all of them are charged with assassinating one of the other girls, and that is Ichinose Haru. And yet, maybe because she gets a sense that she doesn't like being, told what to do, she being Tokaku Azuma, or Azuma Tokaku, she decides, like, no, you know what, I'm not going to do that. And in fact, she goes to the meeting where everyone is formally being assigned to kill Haru, and she essentially rips up her assignment card and says, actually, I'm going to protect Ichinose Haru, and if any of you try to kill her, I'll kill you. And it's this really cool, like, badass moment at the beginning of the show, and it sets up everything that happens after. And indeed, Azuma's not even quite sure why she's doing this. It's not like she instantly, falls in love with Haru, though over the course of the show, there's definitely a sense that they may have romantic feelings for each other, and that's something which is dealt with by the end of the show. But although not necessarily concluded, it's one of those where, like, they definitely go in that direction, but there's, nothing like definitive. Nevertheless, the point is the moment in the show where Azuma decides to protect Ichinose is a really cool moment. And so this track, titled The One to Be Protected, I think speaks to that connection. And in fact, it might even play during that scene when she goes into the class meeting and essentially says, no, I'm not going to do this, and actually I'm going to work against anyone who tries to assassinate her. So let's give it a listen. This is from series composer, is it Yoshiaki? Yeah, Fujisawa Yoshiaki, and the track translates to, and I say that because all of the tracks are written in kanji, but it translates to The One to Be Protected from the Akuma no Riddle soundtrack. I think it perfectly encapsulates the action and emotion of the show, meaning, it's got that electronic dance music beat and some of the sonics are very electric, and yet those strings, they convey emotion, feeling, even sympathy. So yes, the show is in many ways very dark, and there are intense and dark characters, although it is another anime where like even characters who come in very antagonistic and villainous even, you eventually see a more three-dimensional view of them, and even some of them begin to behave in a way that is at least somewhat more ethical. So yes, there is emotional growth, there is three-dimensional character, what's the right word, not articulation, but the characters display a range of behaviors and emotions, so they're not just, simple two-dimensional characters. But as I said, there's a lot of action in the show. I mean, they are assassins who have to use weapons and, stealth and surprise to, try to assassinate others, and in many cases there are, serious action scenes. But of course, again, in multiple ways throughout the show, there's emotion, but especially between the two main characters, as you might suspect, given their embrace here. There is a lot of emotion and beautiful sentiment between the two. So I think the track here like perfectly encapsulates both sides of that. It's definitely a lighter tune, meaning there's not a heavy like dark shadowy sound, though there are tracks like that on the soundtrack. So we'll keep going through more. Again, there's like 22. Let me see. I do have the folder open. There are 24, so now we've done, I think, 6, so we're literally a quarter of the way through. So lots more to go. Let me know what you think of this one, and I will see you next time. Peace.